And I welcome this opportunity to speak on the report by Niall Muldoon on child poverty, a better normal. One of the themes that was going through the whole report, Minister, was housing and child homelessness. It's a big issue. Now, whether that's children that are living in the box bedroom with their mother and fathers, whether that's families that are separated because of the high rents, the father living in his family home and the mother living in her family home and the children being separated, there's a whole wide range of issues, and particularly around child homelessness. I'm our spokesperson on mental health, as you know, and we had a very good meeting of the Joint Committee on Mental Health and Health yesterday, and one of the themes that came up was this cross-departmental approach, and I see that in your opening statement that you mentioned that as well, and in the report that's something that's really needed. But Minister, it needs political will. It needs to be driven by yourself. It needs to be driven by other ministers in cabinet to have this cross-departmental approach and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Because what's falling through the cracks at the moment is children, and these are children who are vulnerable, are in this situation through no fault of their own. And I mentioned mental health. I only spoke about it at that protest on housing that we had last week out the front there. Like, I've been around the block, Minister. I've been through an awful lot over my life. I'm from an area of high disadvantage, but some things still really get to me. Like, you know what I mean? So I remember I allowing families to use my phone because they've run out of credit, because they're ringing hotel after hotel looking for a place for accommodation for themselves and their family at night. And I seen the look of desperation and the fear in their children's eyes every time the parent was told there was no room in the inn tonight. And I seen the parents, being parents, as any parent would be, trying to shield their children from this. It was harrowing, it was horrific. And then when they were eventually told, Minister, that there was a room for the night, often or not they would have to grab all their belongings and their children onto one bus and onto another bus just to get one night's accommodation somewhere. And if that's not going to have a long-term impact on children and the trauma that children experience, I don't know what will. I've seen in the report as well that child homelessness has dropped, and that's really welcome. I've seen that, and it's dropped by a good bit. But we have to bring in the factor of COVID and the regulations that were brought in during COVID and the ban on evictions. The ban on evictions had a huge impact on the amount of families that were experiencing homelessness. And I've no doubt that it's going to rise again, child homelessness, because this ban of evictions is not there anymore. And it's not aimed at you, Minister, but I was listening to some of your government colleagues over there, and crocodile tears was coming into my eyes, because the policies that the Fine Gael and the Fianna Fáil governments over the years have brought in has led to this housing situation, has led to a situation where we're putting children after developers and investors, and that's no way in a modern society. Family hubs are only meant to be, in the report, only meant to be there for short-term emergency basis. They're there, I know families that are there a couple of years at this stage in these family hubs. And the impact that has on the children, they can't bring their friends over for sleepovers. There's curfew for the older children, so they can't stay out at a certain time of night. The older children may have to turn off the lights in the bedroom that they all share because the younger sibling is going to bed. The food, some hubs haven't got the capacity where they can cook their own food, so they're relying on the food that's on offer. This all has long-term effects on children. Just in relation to food poverty, in my own area in North Dundalk and in Quarryvale, there's a fairly successful, I don't like saying successful, but food bank operated by the Family Resource Centre and managed by Karen Johnson, called the Dundalk Cares Food Bank. This came into light in September of last year, 2020. I was on the phone with Karen before this meeting. There was 40 households that were getting food, depending on food, in September 2020. In September 2021, a year later, there's 110 households. So you can see the amount of families that are at food poverty. And if you haven't got the very basic needs of food in your stomach or a secure roof over your head, it's very difficult for any child to go to school, to be able to learn, to be able to progress. So, Minister, unless there's radical changes, I don't want to be here next year again and talking about the same things without solutions coming in. So it's incumbent on you as the Minister with responsibility in this to get your Cabinet colleagues and start working across a cross-departmental approach to child poverty, because I think that's the way forward.